The alarm blared through the spaceship Terra Venture as it spiraled towards the planet horizon. Captain Lisa Moreno gripped the controls, her knuckles white as she attempted to stabilize the descent. Beside her, co-pilot Raj Singh monitored the rapidly changing readings, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We've lost the main engines," Raj announced, his eyes fixed on the console. Lisa's heart raced, but her voice remained calm. "Initiate emergency landing protocols. All crew, brace for impact." The crew of 6 strapped themselves in, faces etched with a mix of fear and determination. The view outside turned from the blackness of space to the fiery orange of atmospheric entry. The ship shuddered violently, metal groaning under the strain. "Altitude 5,000 meters. 3,000, 1,000. Raj counted down, his voice finally betraying a hint of panic. With a deafening crash, the Terra Venture hit the surface. The impact was brutal, throwing them against their restraints. Darkness enveloped Lisa as she lost consciousness. When she awoke, it was to the sound of Raj calling her name. "Captain, are you all right?" Rubbing her head, Lisa blinked away the disorientation. "I think so. Everyone else?" One by one, the crew checked in, shaken but alive. The cockpit was a mess of sparks and broken panels, but the structure had held. Outside, the landscape was unlike anything they had seen before. Towering red rock formations under a turquoise sky gave the world an alien beauty. "We're not going anywhere in the Terra Venture anytime soon," Lisa muttered, peering through the cracked viewport. Their mission had been to explore uncharted territories, a routine exploration-turned-survival scenario. Now, stranded on a potentially hostile planet millions of miles from Earth, the real challenge began. "Let's assess the damage and salvage what we can. We need shelter, food, and a plan," Lisa ordered, her voice firm. "We're not the first to face the unknown, and we won't be the last. Let's get to work." As the crew unbuckled and began their new life on Horizon, little did they know that their greatest challenges and their greatest allies lay hidden amongst the alien flora that swayed in the light breeze outside their broken ship. Their journey of survival and hope was just beginning. The morning after the crash was met with a grim realization. The crew of the Terra Venture was truly alone. Captain Lisa Moreno led the first expedition outside the wrecked ship. Her team, suited up in their protective gear, stepped into the unknown terrain with a mixture of trepidation and awe. The landscape was a stark contrast to Earth's familiar environments. The ground beneath their boots was coarse, littered with sharp rocks that seemed to absorb the light, giving everything a muted, shadowy appearance. Above, the sky was a deep turquoise, occasionally crossed by swift, luminous cloud streaks that were too fast and too bright to be natural. "Keep your eyes open and stay close," Lisa instructed as they moved cautiously forward. Their primary goal was to find a water source and any edible vegetation, but the alien flora was bewildering. Plants, or what seemed to be plants, twisted upwards in spirals, emitting a faint glow that fluctuated in intensity. Raj, who had taken on the role of the group's scientist after the crash, approached one of the glowing spirals. Using his tools, he took samples carefully. "I've never seen anything like this. Their cellular structure isn't like anything on Earth. It's like they're part machine." As they ventured further, the terrain became increasingly treacherous. Sudden gorges appeared out of nowhere, their depths lost in darkness, and the air grew thicker, almost fog-like, making breathing more laborious. The team had just decided to turn back when they heard it. A low, rumbling growl that seemed to come from all directions. Frozen in place, they scanned their surroundings. The noise intensified, a mix of mechanical whirs and animalistic roars. "Back to the ship now," Lisa ordered, her voice cutting through the growing panic. They retraced their steps, the sounds of pursuit close behind. Just as they neared the safety of the Terra Venture, a massive creature burst from the ground in front of them. It was unlike any terrestrial animal, with a hard, exoskeletal body and multiple limbs, each ending in what looked like sharp tools rather than natural appendages. The creature paused, its body shifting colors rapidly, from dark reds to bright, alarming yellows. Lisa stood her ground, raising her arms slowly to show they were not a threat. The creature watched them, its body eventually settling into a less vibrant shade. Days turned into weeks as the crew of the Terra Venture adapted to their new environment on Horizon. After the initial encounter with the predatory creature, they had established a makeshift perimeter around the ship using salvaged parts and created early warning systems using the ship's remaining operational sensors. It was during one of her perimeter checks that Captain Lisa Moreno first spotted them. The Horizons. Through the thickening mist of the early Horizon morning, Lisa saw figures moving with an eerie grace. They were tall and slender, covered in scales that shimmered with the same pulsating glow as the local flora. The Horizons paused at the edge of the clearing, their large, reflective eyes fixed on the human intruders. "Everyone be calm," Lisa whispered into her communicator, aware that any sudden movement could be seen as a threat. "We have company." The crew assembled slowly, forming a cautious line behind Lisa. The Horizons remained still, watching. There were 5 of them, each slightly different in the hue of their scales, some blue, some green, all iridescent. Raj stepped forward slightly, holding out a device he had been working on since they first encountered the plant-like life forms. "I modified this to capture and analyze sound frequencies. Maybe it can help us understand them if they communicate vocally." The Horizons seemed to communicate among themselves through a series of low hums and vibrations, feeling more like a melody than spoken language. Raj's device flickered to life, recording the sounds. After several tense minutes, one of the Horizons stepped forward, extending an arm in a gesture that seemed neither aggressive nor entirely friendly. Its hand was open, palm up, and from it a small orb of light emerged, floating towards the crew. Lisa looked at her team, then back at the floating orb. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward and reached out her hand towards the light. As her fingers brushed the orb, it burst into a cascade of small, shimmering particles that gently rained down around them, creating a halo of light. The effect was mesmerizing, and the crew watched in awe as the Horizons approached closer, their bodies now less tense, the melody of their communication taking on a softer tone. "This might be a greeting," Raj suggested, his eyes never leaving the device as it continued to record. "Or a gift," added Lisa, still watching the particles of light dissipate into the air. The initial Horizon who had stepped forward began to mimic Lisa's earlier gesture, its hand moving in a slow, deliberate motion that suggested a mimicry of human greeting, shaking hands. Lisa reached out and carefully took the Horizon's hand. It was cool and smooth, the texture almost like glass. The Horizon's grip was firm but gentle, and as they shook hands, the rest of the crew followed suit, each engaging in this new, delicate ritual of introduction. The meeting lasted several hours, with both sides attempting to communicate through gestures, expressions, and the device Raj had created. Though understanding each other was slow-going, the groundwork for a mutual understanding was laid. As the Horizons finally retreated back into the mist, Lisa felt a surge of hope. "We're not alone here, and maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to coexist." Back at the ship, the crew gathered to discuss the encounter. They needed to learn the language of the Horizons, understand their culture, and find a way to express their intentions peacefully. The survival of the Terra Venture crew on Horizon now seemed more promising, but it was clear that the journey ahead would require patience, respect, and a lot of learning. The day's events had shifted their perspective. They were no longer just survivors. They were potential allies on a world that was as dangerous as it was beautiful. The meeting with the Horizons had opened a door to possibilities that Captain Lisa Moreno and her crew were eager to explore. Over the next few days, the crew focused intensely on establishing a reliable method of communication. The device Raj had modified was proving invaluable, but translating the melodic hums and vibrations into something comprehensible was challenging. In the makeshift lab aboard the wrecked Terra Venture, Raj and Dr. Emily Chen, the mission's linguist, spent hours analyzing the recordings. The sounds were complex, with layers of tones and harmonics that didn't match any human language patterns. "It's like trying to decode whale songs if the whales were also playing the violin at the same time," Emily joked wearily during one late-night session. Raj nodded, his eyes heavy with fatigue. "We might be overthinking it. Maybe their communication is more about the emotion conveyed through tone rather than specific words." like music. "That's a start," Lisa said, entering the lab with fresh coffee for the team. "But how do we respond in kind? We can't hum back a treaty or technical plans for a water filtration system." The crew decided to approach communication through multiple channels: visual symbols, basic sign language developed on the fly, and using Raj's device to mimic back the tones they recorded. They organized these methods into a simple presentation, hoping to express basic ideas like friendship, cooperation, and mutual benefit. When the Horizons visited next, which had become a regular occurrence at dawn and dusk, the crew was ready. They set up a display outside the Terra Venture, using a salvaged screen to show simple images, pictures of the ship, the solar system, and various technical equipment, accompanied by sign language gestures. The Horizons watched intently, their heads tilting in unison as the screen flickered through the images. One of them, a Horizon who had begun to stand out as a leader or perhaps a chief communicator, approached the screen, touching it lightly. To everyone's surprise, the Horizon then produced a similar display from a device of their own, showing images of the local geography, various plants and animals, and most interestingly, a map of what appeared to be settlements or important landmarks. "They're teaching us about their world," Emily whispered, her eyes wide with excitement. Communication sessions became regular meetings. Each session ended with both sides exchanging information, not just through devices and displays, but also through gestures and even attempts at mimicking each other's sounds. Progress was slow but tangible. The Horizons seemed to understand the crew's interest in water and food sources, and one morning they led Lisa and two others to a nearby stream they had missed in their initial explorations. This act of sharing resources was a significant breakthrough. With every exchange, trust grew. The Horizons were cautious, but increasingly open, showing the crew various edible plants and even demonstrating how to extract water from certain types of vegetation that were abundant on the planet. "We're getting there," Lisa said one evening as they watched the sunset, an astonishing burst of colors that none of them had grown tired of. "Today we shared water, tomorrow maybe we share technology. And the next day, who knows, maybe we'll be humming along with them," Raj added with a smile. Each successful interaction was a step closer to understanding and coexistence on Horizon. But as they broke down communication barriers, the crew of the Terra Venture also realized how much they depended on the goodwill of their new neighbors. The challenges of survival on the planet were immense, but the potential rewards of this interspecies friendship could be greater than any of them had imagined. As the weeks turned into months, the bond between the humans and the Horizons deepened. Their collaborative efforts had improved the crew's living conditions significantly, utilizing the local resources more efficiently and safely under the guidance of their alien friends. However, the relative peace and progress they had enjoyed were about to be tested by a threat that neither species could ignore. One evening, as the crew and several Horizons gathered to discuss the construction of a more permanent settlement, the ground trembled beneath them. Initially, they thought it was a quake, a common enough occurrence on Horizon, but the Horizons reacted with visible fear. The leader of the Horizons, whom the crew had started calling Mira, based on the sound she often made, pointed to the horizon with a trembling hand. Following her gaze, the humans saw a massive dust cloud rolling towards them, backlit by Horizon's twin moons. The sight was both magnificent and terrifying. "It's the Borax," one of the Horizons communicated through the device, the vibrating tones filled with dread. "Raj, do you have any idea what they're talking about?" Lisa asked, her eyes fixed on the approaching cloud. Raj quickly adjusted the device to facilitate more detailed communication. "They're saying it's a predatory species, something far worse than what we encountered on our first day here." As if on cue, a deafening roar split the air, and from the dust cloud emerged creatures of nightmares. The Borax were colossal, easily 3 times the size of the creature the crew had initially encountered, with thick, plated armor and multiple limbs that ended in what looked like razor-sharp blades. Their eyes glowed red in the dim light, and as they moved closer, their intent was unmistakably hostile. The Horizons began to hastily retreat to what appeared to be previously prepared underground shelters. Mira gestured urgently for the humans to follow. Without hesitation, the crew complied, following the horizons into the depths of a large, fortified burrow. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. The horizons were clearly frightened, their bodies glowing dimly as they huddled together. Through the translation device, Mira explained that the Borax were relentless predators, coming out of their lairs every few years to feed and breed. Their last appearance had devastated several horizon communities. "We need a plan," Lisa stated, looking around at her crew and their horizon allies. "We can't just hide every time these things come out. There has to be a way to protect ourselves and the horizons." The following hours were spent in frantic planning. The crew shared information about Earth's methods of dealing with invasive species and predators, while the horizons offered insights into the Borax behaviors and weaknesses. It was a crash course in interspecies strategy and cooperation. Finally, they devised a plan that combined human technology with horizon knowledge. They would use the ship's remaining energy reserves to power a series of high-frequency sound emitters that Raj theorized could disorient and repel the Borax. The horizons, in turn, would prepare traps and barriers that could further hinder the creature's movement. As they emerged from the shelter to begin implementing their plan, the Borax were closing in on their location. The air was thick with tension as they worked to set up the equipment under the cover of darkness, the menacing growls of the Borax echoing around them. With everything in place, Raj activated the emitters. A high-pitched, almost inaudible whine filled the air. The effect was immediate. The Borax halted, their heads reeling, visibly confused and agitated. Seizing the moment, the horizons triggered the traps they had set up around the perimeter, causing several of the Borax to stumble and fall, becoming entangled in the barriers. The combined effort was a success. The Borax, disoriented and unable to advance, eventually retreated back to their lairs, leaving the area in relative peace. Breathing a collective sigh of relief, the humans and horizons celebrated their victory. This event marked a turning point in their relationship, having not only survived together, but actively cooperated to overcome a deadly foe. "This is just the beginning," Lisa said, watching the retreating figures of the Borax. "Together, we're more than just survivors. We're protectors of this world." And with that newfound confidence, the seeds of a lasting alliance were sown, promising a future where humans and horizons could thrive together on the once hostile planet of Horizon. After the victory over the Borax, the atmosphere among the crew of the TerraVenture and their Horizon allies was one of cautious optimism. The shared threat had brought them closer, proving that together they could face formidable challenges. This newfound trust paved the way for deeper cooperation. Captain Lisa Moreno and her team decided it was time to strengthen this alliance with more structured collaboration. They proposed a series of joint initiatives aimed at improving the defense capabilities of both species and enhancing the sustainability of their living arrangements. The first task was to establish a permanent base that could serve as a hub for both human and horizon operations. This base would not only provide shelter, but also function as a center for cultural exchange and technological collaboration. Lisa and Mira, who had become the unofficial ambassador for her people, laid the foundation stone together in a ceremony that symbolized their unity. As construction began, human engineers worked alongside horizon builders, learning from each other's construction techniques. The Horizons introduced a robust, lightweight material similar to concrete but with better thermal properties, ideal for the fluctuating temperatures of Horizon. In return, humans shared advanced solar panel technology, enhancing the energy efficiency of Horizon structures. Meanwhile, Emily Chen led a communication workshop where humans and Horizons practiced the language skills they had been developing. They used Raj's device, which was now refined to include visual aids that helped bridge the gap between spoken and nonverbal Horizon communication. These sessions not only improved mutual understanding, but also fostered personal bonds between the crew and the Horizons. One day, during a break in the construction, a young Horizon approached Lisa with a small metallic object in hand. It was intricately designed, resembling a puzzle. The Horizon, named Kelor, demonstrated its purpose, a tool for enhancing mental agility by solving various configurations. It was a gift of friendship and respect. Lisa accepted the gift with a smile, recognizing the importance of such exchanges in building trust. "Thank you, Kelor. I have something for you, too." She retrieved a digital tablet loaded with an interactive map of the stars as seen from Earth. Kelor's eyes widened with curiosity, and the moment was shared among the crew and Horizons, all gathered around to glimpse the knowledge from another world. As the days progressed, so did the base's construction. The new settlement began to take shape, featuring a blend of Horizon and human architectural styles. The central dome was designed to serve as a meeting place, surrounded by modular units that could be adapted for various uses, from living quarters to research labs. The collaboration also extended to agriculture. The Horizons showed the humans how to cultivate native crops that were nutritionally rich and adapted to the local soil, which was initially problematic for Earth plants. This led to the development of hybrid crops that could thrive in the hybrid soil created from Earth and Horizon resources. One evening, as they gathered in the nearly completed dome for a communal meal featuring both Earth and Horizon dishes, Lisa raised her glass in a toast. "To our combined efforts, our shared future, and the trust that brings us together. May we continue to learn from each other and grow together." The Horizons, understanding the sentiment, mimicked the toast with their own cups, filled with a luminescent liquid that was a traditional Horizon celebratory drink. The evening was filled with laughter and music, a combination of human tunes and Horizon melodies, a symphony of two cultures intertwining. The trust that had been seeded in the soil of necessity was now blooming into a partnership that promised to withstand the tests of time and space. As the newly established base between humans and Horizons began to flourish, the focus shifted from survival to a deeper understanding and integration of knowledge and technology. The crew of the Terra Venture, along with their Horizon allies, initiated a series of educational exchanges that would leverage the strengths of both species. Dr. Emily Chen spearheaded the educational initiative, creating a structured program where humans and Horizons could teach and learn from each other. The program covered a wide range of subjects, from engineering and agriculture to art and culture. The central dome, now complete, served as the main classroom and meeting space, symbolizing the heart of their joint community. One of the key areas of focus was environmental technology. Raj, together with a team of Horizon engineers, led workshops on sustainable energy solutions that combined human solar technology with Horizon bioenergy techniques. They developed a new type of biosolar panel that was more efficient at converting the planet's abundant ultraviolet light into energy. This innovation not only powered their base, but also had the potential to be used in other Horizon communities. Meanwhile, Lisa organized tactical training sessions, teaching Horizons some of the defensive techniques humans used, while learning from Horizons about the local fauna and how to avoid or neutralize the threats they posed. These sessions were crucial, not only for safety, but also for building mutual respect and understanding of each other's capabilities and needs. Agricultural exchange was another critical area. The Horizon agricultural experts showed the humans how to cultivate the native crops that were initially perplexing to grow. These crops were rich in nutrients and adapted well to the local climate. The humans shared their knowledge of crop rotation and pest management, which were new concepts to the Horizons, who had traditionally relied on a more symbiotic relationship with the local insect life to manage their crops. Cultural exchange was just as vibrant. The Horizons introduced humans to their forms of expression through music and dance, which were deeply integrated with their communication methods. The humans shared elements of various Earth cultures, from music and literature to digital art. These sessions not only entertained, but also deepened the emotional and cultural bonds between the two groups. An unexpected breakthrough came from these cultural exchanges. During one session, a Horizon artist used a form of live painting that involved the manipulation of bioluminescent plant extracts. Inspired by this, a human scientist, Dr. Alice Murray, began working with the artist to develop a new. As the collaboration between the humans of the Terra Venture and the Horizons continued to grow, the community faced a new challenge. The predatory Borax, though temporarily driven back, remained a looming threat on the outskirts of their territory. The humans and Horizons knew that a more permanent solution was needed to ensure the safety and stability of their growing community. Captain Lisa Moreno and Mira convened a council meeting with key members of both species to discuss long-term defense strategies. The atmosphere was tense with the weight of their responsibility. Everyone understood that the peace and progress they had achieved could be easily shattered by another Borak attack. "We need a proactive approach," Lisa began, addressing the gathered group in the central dome. "Waiting for the Boraks to come to us isn't a strategy, it's a gamble." Mira nodded in agreement, her scales shimmering with the intensity of her emotions. Through the translation device, she added, "We have observed the Borak's patterns. They follow the migration routes of the large herbivores they prey upon. We can use this knowledge to our advantage." Raj, who had been working closely with Horizon engineers, presented their joint proposal. "We've designed a series of early warning systems and traps that can be deployed along the known migration routes. These systems will not only alert us to Borak movements, but also hinder their progress toward our settlements." The plan also included the use of the high-frequency sound emitters that had proven effective in their previous encounter. "We've made improvements to the emitters," Raj continued. "They're now more durable and can be remotely activated, giving us the ability to create a sonic barrier that can drive the Boraks away without direct confrontation." The Horizons, skilled in bioengineering, proposed integrating a natural deterrent into the local flora. "We can enhance certain plant species with a compound that is repulsive to the Boraks," explained a Horizon scientist. "These plants can be cultivated along the migration routes, forming a biological barrier." The discussion then turned to the logistics of implementing such a comprehensive plan. Human and Horizon teams were formed to tackle different aspects of the strategy, from manufacturing and deploying the technical devices to cultivating and planting the bioengineered flora. In the weeks that followed, the community worked tirelessly. Teams ventured out under heavy guard to install the early warning systems and sound emitters along the strategic points they had identified. Others, led by Horizon botanists, worked on cultivating the modified plants in large quantities. Meanwhile, educational workshops were held to train both humans and Horizons on the operation and maintenance of the defense systems. These workshops served not only to impart technical knowledge, but also to strengthen the bonds of trust and cooperation that had become the foundation of their community. As the network of defenses grew, so did a sense of security and confidence among the settlers. Children played more freely, and plans for expanding the settlement were discussed more openly. Finally, the day came when the new defense system was fully operational. The community gathered as Raj activated the network of emitters and sensors from a control panel in the central dome. A map displayed the locations of all devices, now live and monitoring the vast landscape that was their shared home. "Together, we have not only built a defense," Lisa addressed the community, her voice filled with pride and hope. "We have built a testament to what we can achieve when we stand united. This system isn't just technology, it's a symbol of our partnership and our determination to protect and preserve our shared future." The Horizons responded with their melodic tones, expressing their concord and gratitude. Mira approached Lisa, extending her hand in the human gesture of friendship they had adopted. "Together, always," she said through the translator. As they clasped hands, the community erupted in cheers, not just for the success of their project, but for the future they were building together on Horizon, a future that was now more secure than ever. Despite the successful implementation of their defense system against the predatory Boraks, the community on Horizon was not immune to the challenges that often accompany pioneering efforts on a new world. The intricate balance of technology, nature, and different cultural expectations soon tested the resilience of the humans and Horizons. A few weeks after the celebration of their new defense system, an unexpected problem arose. The early warning devices, crucial for the detection of approaching Boraks, began to malfunction. The harsh environmental conditions of Horizon, intense UV radiation, fluctuating temperatures, and abrasive dust storms, were more damaging than anticipated. Captain Lisa Moreno convened an emergency meeting with the project leaders. The mood was tense as Raj delivered his report. "It appears that the protective coatings we used aren't standing up to the environment as well as we hoped," Raj explained, pointing to the data on a screen showing the rapid degradation of the materials. We need a more durable solution or we risk blind spots in our coverage. Mira, who had grown increasingly adept at navigating these joint technical discussions, suggested a collaborative troubleshooting session with Horizon engineers. They brought with them a deep understanding of native materials that might offer better resilience against the planet's harsh conditions. As they worked through these technical challenges, another setback occurred. A group of Horizons, from a tribe not directly involved in the collaboration, expressed their concerns about the extensive use of high-frequency sound emitters. They believed that the emitters were disturbing the local wildlife, some species of which were considered sacred in their culture. The issue was brought to Lisa's attention during a community forum, a regular event intended to foster open dialogue between humans and Horizons. The forum was filled with passionate discussions, a clear sign of the growing pains of their young alliance. "We respect the sacredness of your relations with the wildlife," Lisa assured them, her tone both sincere and conciliatory. "Let's work together to find a balance that respects your cultural practices while keeping our community safe." A task force was formed, including members from the concerned Horizon tribe, to study the impact of the sound emitters and explore possible adjustments. This effort was not only about modifying technology, but also about deepening mutual respect and understanding. Amid these challenges, the agricultural projects faced their own difficulties. The hybrid crops, a symbol of their integrated efforts to secure food sustainability, were not yielding as expected. The genetic modifications had not fully accounted for some of the subtler aspects of Horizon's soil composition. Dr. Alice Murray, leading the agricultural team, coordinated with Horizon botanists to analyze the soil and plant interactions more deeply. "It seems we underestimated the complexity of the local ecosystem," Alice reported in a project update meeting. "But every challenge gives us more insight. We'll adapt our approach based on what we're learning here." The community rallied in response to these setbacks. Engineers worked on enhancing the durability of the warning devices. The cultural task force made progress in adjusting the sound emitters to minimize their impact on wildlife. And agricultural experts refined their techniques to improve crop yields. Through these trials, the bonds between the humans and Horizons were tested, but ultimately strengthened. Each setback was met with a renewed spirit of collaboration and innovation. The community's commitment to work through difficulties together led to deeper trust and a greater sense of shared destiny. As they overcame each challenge, the community not only restored functionality to their systems, but also learned invaluable lessons about resilience, adaptability, and the importance of respecting and integrating diverse perspectives. These experiences underscored a profound truth. On Horizon, their greatest strength lay in their unity. As the Horizon settlement matured and the immediate technical and cultural challenges were addressed, the community began to focus on deeper integration and sustainable growth. The synergy between humans and Horizons was now evident in every aspect of life, from daily operations to long-term planning. This period of relative stability gave both species a chance to look beyond survival and consider their legacy on this shared world. Captain Lisa Moreno and Mira spearheaded a series of community-wide initiatives aimed at enriching the lives of all residents, ensuring that the settlement wasn't just functional, but thriving. They introduced a comprehensive education system where human and Horizon children learned side by side, not only about math and science, but about each other's histories and philosophies. One of the most ambitious projects was the creation of the Horizon Cultural Exchange Center, designed as a space where anyone could learn about the arts, traditions, and values of both cultures. The center included an interactive museum, a library filled with human and Horizon literature, translated into each language, and an auditorium for performances and lectures. In addition to cultural development, the community invested in expanding their technological and scientific collaborations. Dr. Alice Murray and her team, in partnership with Horizon scientists, opened a joint research facility dedicated to the study of the planet's unique ecosystem. Their goal was not only to understand Horizon better, but also to discover new ways to live in harmony with the planet's natural systems. The research facility quickly became a hub of innovation, developing advanced hybrid technologies that combined human mechanical engineering with horizon bioengineering practices. One of their first breakthroughs was a new water filtration system that utilized natural enzymes found in horizon plants, greatly increasing the efficiency of converting dew and mist into potable water. Meanwhile, the defense strategies against the Borucs were continually refined and strengthened, ensuring the safety of the settlement. The early warning systems were upgraded with horizon crystalline technology, which was far more durable and effective in detecting the predators at greater distances. As the settlement grew, so did its impact on surrounding horizon communities. What started as a small alliance was now blossoming into a coalition of multiple tribes and groups, influenced by the success of the Human Horizon collaboration. Regular conferences were held at the settlement, where leaders discussed broader issues such as resource sharing, environmental management, and regional security. During one such conference, Lisa and Mira jointly proposed the creation of a unified Horizon Council, a governing body that would represent both human and horizon interests and work towards the common good of all communities on the planet. The proposal was met with enthusiasm, and preparations began to establish the council. This period of growth and prosperity, however, was not without its challenges. As the settlement expanded, it encroached on the territories of some native species, leading to conflicts with wildlife. The community had to find ways to mitigate this impact, which included creating wildlife corridors and sanctuaries to ensure that native species had safe passages through and around human and horizon activities. Through these initiatives, the settlement not only survived but thrived, setting a precedent for coexistence and mutual respect. It became a model of interspecies cooperation, showing that with shared goals and mutual respect, even the most unlikely allies could create a prosperous future. As the sun set on another day on horizon, Lisa and Mira stood together, watching the bustling activity of their flourishing community. "Look how far we've come," Lisa remarked, a note of pride in her voice. Mira responded with a melodic hum that translated to, "And still, we have farther to go, together." Their vision, once a mere hope for survival, was now a vibrant reality, a testament to the power of unity in facing the vast unknown.